concerns that GNU will intensify and implement neoliberal policy. The Government of National Unity GNU is facing concerns that it would intensify and broaden the implementations of the neoliberal policy that has already caused immense inequality and hardship over the past 30 years. The Workers and Socialists WASP and the Socialist Youth Movement SYM said this includes fiscal austerity, privatization and the handing over of public services to corporate profiteering, brutal monetary policy, and a failed industrial policy that is premised on incentivizing the private. These remarks came in after they held a recent mass meeting. The parties were joined by other organizations including left political formations, community civic organizations, social justice campaign groups, and trade union representatives to prepare a battle against the multi-party government. They said the strategy for attracting investment was already responsible for the relentless attacks on public service and workers' rights. The parties said this would be expected to be pursued with a renewed vigor despite abundant evidence which indicates that this strategy has failed to create jobs. These investments reflect the ongoing colonial plunder of minerals and the hostile takeovers responsible for job losses and the decimation of previously sheltered local industries. This came amid labor protests in the country. Recently, Impala Platinum's Bafokeng mine embarked on an illegal strike demanding permanent jobs. Ford workers also took to the streets over bonuses. Rebus Manufacturing also embarked on a strike on Friday, demanding a wage increase of R4 per hour and a 10-minute break. On the other hand, Gautrain workers are also demanding a 13% wage increase from their management, while Sibanye Stillwater has embarked on a process to retrench 4,000 workers and contractors. This, according to labor experts, suggests that the mood amongst labor is not about what the GNU will deliver. According to the Labor Law Management Consulting Chief Executive Ivan Israelstam, the fact that the ANC lost its majority vote means that the GNU partners in the cabinet would have a say in government policy. Israelstam said this created uncertainty among the ANC labor allies as to what their members can expect. The South African Democratic Teachers Union SADTU has already lamented the appointment of a DA candidate as the Minister of Education. The South African Federation of Trade Unions SAFTU also accused the ANC of abandoning the interests of South Africans for cabinet positions. Israelstam said Labour's dissatisfaction and uncertainty as to what the GNU would bring is likely to result in apprehensiveness and even fractious behavior. He added that employers too were uncertain as to whether the multi-party cabinet would provide better or worse government. However, WSP and SYM said they are expecting direct attacks on a minimum wage, collective bargaining and the right to strike, alongside the erosion of gains won surrounding national health and insurance, basic income grant and other concessions that the ANC was forced to make in recent times. While the policies of neoliberalism have a direct implication on the volume of unemployment and poverty, the fundamental flaw lies in the capitalist mode of production. No matter how policies are adjusted, as long as they prop up the capitalist economy, unemployment will persist and poverty will be reproduced. This is because the logic of capitalist accumulation annihilates jobs through machinery and concentrates wealth in the hands of the tiny economic elite that owns the means of production, said WASP National Committee member Mametwe Sebei. Sebei said this right-wing coalition was an admission from the ANC that it has abandoned any pretense of serving the working class. He added that this was an assurance to world imperialism that they no longer have any intention of pursuing redress for the historical injustices rooted in the country's colonial and apartheid past. The coalition with right-wing parties like VF, Freedom Front Plus, and the DA is only possible on the basis that the ANC will not address the most fundamental issues that are part of the lingering national question, that is, foreign, especially Western imperialist domination, white monopoly over the ownership of the land, minerals and economy, and ongoing racial inequalities, including the discriminations and abuses of black majority that is part of their daily humiliation in every sphere of society. Even the ministry held by the opportunistic PSC over land could never meaningfully address the land question while in coalition with the racist parties who vehemently defend and uphold the interests of white monopoly capital, said Sebei. Sankarist David Letsoalo agreed with the views of WASP and SYM, saying it must be emphasized that it is a misnomer to refer to this government as GNU. Letsoalo said that was the reason it was easily appropriate to align with the Umkhonto weSizwe Party leader and former President Jacob Zuma, who said the notion of GNU was meaningless and nonsense. What the country needs is a proper redress in terms of which black people are brought to the main table and not under the table to wait for crumbs. The country needs a stern reversal of the damage inflicted on black people through colonialism and apartheid. This reversal is guided by the National Democratic Revolution (NDR), said Letsoalo, adding that the little remnants of any sentiments or perspective that is pro-working class is worse off now because the so-called GNU is crammed with neoliberal parties. He said the country can be assured that any voice that may attempt to sing the tune of poverty eradication and economic transformation within this new government will be drowned, vilified, and ostracized. It should be clear that this government is not about the creation of employment. In my view, it is a conglomeration of forces that are there to serve the interests of capital in the context of the wider global capitalist architecture. In terms of global geopolitics, the West cannot afford to have a progressive South Africa with anti-capital or socialist orientation, he said. Meanwhile, tough tasks for new Mayor Xaba. Newly elected eThekwini Mayor Cyril Xaba has no illusions about his new job and rates it as possibly the toughest challenge yet in public office. That is taking into account the combination of a demoralized ratepayer base and a workplace that, in part, is not pulling its weight. Xaba, who was elected at a special council sitting on Wednesday, said his experience as a politician in the KwaZulu-Natal legislature and the national parliament, coupled with his years as agriculture MEC as well as economic advisor to former KZN Premier Dr. Zweli Mkhize, would come in handy during his deployment. I was telling ANC veteran Dr. Mavuso Msimang on how grateful I am to have been entrusted with such a daunting task because it means that my party saw me as being fit enough to perform the duties that are demanded on this office at this very difficult period, he told the Sunday Tribune following his election. Xaba, who gained popularity as a no-nonsense finance committee chairperson, making life difficult for many government departments officials and their political masters, has indicated that he will use the same method when dealing with provincial departments. He has listed key areas that need urgent attention, including electricity and water infrastructure, making streets safer by ensuring that the Metro Police have proper and latest equipment to fight crime, and ensuring synergy among departments and making official accounts for the departmental budgets. Xaba said he had already gone through the city's Integrated Development Plan (IDP) and noted some areas of concern which he was set to raise in the coming weeks. The thing to remember about the IDP is that it is likely a shopping list that one develops, then asks for money and explains how the money that had been approved for the shopping was used. It is that simple, and that's what I'm here to see, he said. According to Xaba, what made the government work was the level of oversight that was exercised by portfolio committees, including the Standing Committee on Public Accounting and the Finance Committee, and it is the same collective mindset that will ensure the success of the term that has been sent to KZN's economic hub. Action SA leader Swakele Mngwango said they had no qualms with Xaba's election. We don't have an issue with Xaba as an individual, but welcome and wish him well. We will hold him accountable as part of our duties, said Mngwango. He expressed concerns over the system that the new mayor has inherited. On our side, we are of the view that eThekwini is in trouble because of the systematic challenges from the ANC. They used the so-called democratic centralism, where individuals and leaders do not have any authority but simply take instructions from the central structure, and that becomes problematic when a new person is attempting to stamp his authority, said Mngwango. The Action SA councillor lamented the arrangement reached by the major parties, which mirrors the Government of National Unity arrangement where the ANC, DA, IFP and NFP make up the city's executive committee. The new arrangement is against the spirit of the executive committee system because now the EXCO is made up of parties that work together. Hopefully, the sitting will not be the day we live to rule on behalf of eThekwini's residents, Mngwango added. EFF Councillor Themba Mfubu described Xaba's tenure as a challenging one, citing the difficulty the new mayor was likely to face when pushing for a pro-poor budget under the new political arrangement. The challenge here is that eThekwini has nearly 60% of the population in rural areas which need servicing, and that may not go down well with the other political partners of the ANC under this arrangement, said Mfubu. DA Councillor Welekazi Sibiya said they welcomed Xaba's election and called on the mayor to brace himself for the challenges before him. We welcome his election. However, we feel, judging by his maiden speech, that he may be out of touch with the challenges faced by the city, said Sibiya. IFP Councillor Mtungosi said the fact that none of the major parties had fielded a mayoral candidate to contest the position with Xaba was a sign of the support he was set to enjoy. And that's it from INJIBS Network. Stay tuned to our celebrity and gossip news.